Last episode, we fully loaded a coal train at Rockwood Junction, and today's objective is to take it up and down the sand patch grade and drop it off in Cumberland Yard. This will be our toughest test yet as an engineer, so let's hop right into it. So before we get going here, of course, we have a very heavy coal train with us. Let's turn on banking comm. We are going to need that to be able to communicate with this twin AC 4400 behind us, pulling this incredibly long coal train that we filled up last scenario. So now that that train has passed us, we can go ahead, put the reverser into forward here. We are going to release the automatic brake, set our headlights here to bright, but our cab driver doesn't let us go to bright aux. And look at this. That's not Bill. We got Susanna rolling with us today, I guess. So let's go ahead, release the independent brake. Let's open up the windows before we go here. Sound the horn twice. Turn on the bell. And we are set to go via location to Salisbury Junction. So let's go ahead, put this thing into notch 3, up to 4. And we are slowly going to start pulling away here. It took a lot to get going, but we have done it. Those amps are building up, and we are underway to Salisbury Junction. Speed limit has jumped up to 40 miles an hour now. We have finally cleared that post with the entirety of our train, so we can go ahead and we can start bumping up here. We probably will eventually get all the way up to notch 8, as we are going to hit some steep inclines here, pushing 1% grade, not too far away from where we are now. And actually just before we reach Salisbury Junction is where we really start hitting some uphill area. So we're going to want to make sure we have enough momentum behind us to get up those steep hills there. And here we are coming up on Salisbury Junction, or I guess Yoder, near Salisbury Junction, which is going to be our first go via location. And we are starting a bit of a downhill descent here. Don't exactly remember for how long, but we do have a yellow signal. And in 1.3 miles, we do have a red signal. So we are going to have to start braking here anyway to get ready to stop, as we're coming up on the marker here in just under 100 yards. There we go. And our next location will be
P205, subject to signal indications. Proceed from Salisbury Junction. Sandpatch Junction, over.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much, dispatch. So, like I said, let's start bringing this train to a stop. So that took quite a bit of time to stop, basically an entire mile. We could have maybe made it a little shorter, but I wanted a very nice, slow, and easy stop. So we are on a bit of a slight hill upgrade, or grade here. So what we're going to do is release the automatic, and we're going to have to do this later in this scenario, except it will be a much steeper grade that we are starting on. Let's build up some amps here, bump this up to 3, and we are going to slowly release the independent brake here. Actually, maybe we need notch 4. Or even 5. There we go. Is 5 gonna do it? Ever so slowly, we are fighting. We are slowly trying to fight. You can see that 0 wanting to change. You know what? Let's add a little independent brake here. Alright, you can see we are just barely moving, and finally, there we go. We haven't even took the independent brake off yet. We have our sand down. Let's go ahead, release the independent fully. Sand is still on. And we are going to get moving. So again, like I talked about last or 2 scenarios ago, sometimes it's just a matter of literally just sitting there for like a minute as you squeak along before you even reach 0.1 mile an hour. And then once you get there, just keeping down on that sand, making sure you have enough independent brake applied, but not too much. And then finally, like this happened, we get moving. It's a process. Don't get stressed out if you're not moving as soon as you apply throttle. That's not going to happen. It takes a while to get these big trains moving. We have hit the steepest part of the climb up to Sand Patch right now. 1.2% grade going up. And I have to say, I just like seeing how we're doing because I know I've definitely improved at this game. First time I tried this route, didn't even set up banking comm. I got stuck at the uphill start. And going up this 1.2% grade, I was crawling at notch 8 at 10 miles an hour. So I'd like to think, now that we're sitting at 30 miles an hour at notch 8 instead of 10, I'd like to think I've learned a little bit and know enough of what I'm doing to maybe be a little successful in this game. But it's nice to see from a personal standpoint, as we are just about 3 miles out from Sand Patch though, and in just over 2 miles, an approach with caution signal. So after that now, our next stop is Viaduct Junction, which is where we're going to have to stop to request a warrant to enter into the yard here. And it looks like we are going to have a red signal if we are taking this track. We have approach with caution here, and yep, let's go ahead. We are going to throw this into emergency right away and hope we can come to a stop. I should have been looking ahead. Let's just go ahead, full service this. We're going to get stopped in time at least. Move that back to idle and throw in the independent brake. And here is where we'll have to sit and wait for a train to pass. As you can see, we're going to be starting on a 0.5% grade. Not terrible, but a little bit steeper than the 0.2 from before. With that auto rack train that has passed, we can go ahead and get this train moving again. So, uphill start. A lot of people, myself included, this has been the toughest point. I could never get past this on this level. I've never got it past before, but to be fair, I never played the game as much as I had now. So, here's what we're going to have to do. I'm going to release the automatic brake, making sure our independent is still applied. You want to apply that when you stop. Along after you stop with the automatic, you have to apply the independent So that is the only thing that is holding our train in place and stopping us from sliding back right now. So now we're going to use the throttle. We're going to build up some amps. We're probably going to get this into notch 4 is probably where it's going to have to be to get us moving. So we're notch 3 here. Let that build up. And we're going to go into notch 4 here. We want to turn on lead sand on. We're going to hold down the sand button as well. So we have 2 sands going. And now we're going to slowly release the independent. And as you can see, we started moving. But we want to get it to where there is enough traction to get us going. So let's keep moving it down a little bit. All right, guys, and here we go. Finally, it takes a bit, but we were moving at not even 0.1 for maybe a minute, and then we're able to bump it up to notch 5 to finally get us going. So this took maybe me 3 to 4 minutes to get this train going. So again, younger me got really discouraged when I couldn't get this going right away. It takes a long time, and again, you can see we still have the independent applied. It takes a lot to get these trains going, so you got to remember, build up the amps, release your independent or release your automatic. Work with the independent and bringing it down enough to where you can get going just a tiny bit and slowly start to build up that throttle more and more as you pick up more speed. It's a process. It's tough. It takes practicing, but it feels amazing once you can get it. So we are finally moving here, and we are off to Viaduct Junction. And this is where you can use previous knowledge, guys. Coming into this tunnel, I know this is where the summit is that we've just crossed, that we're going to start going downhill now pretty much the rest of the way. As hello, guys. It's actually so cool. They have people out here moving and working on the tracks. What's up? So now that we know from previous knowledge that this is where the summit is, we want to get ahead of our braking and slowing our descent, especially considering this is the longest and heaviest train we've ever worked with. So we're going to sit here and get ready to start using dynamic braking. So as more and more of our train starts coming over that top of the hill there, we are slowly starting to pick up a little speed here. So again, we just want to get ahead of this, and we want to start applying this braking as early as we can to try to keep us in that nice range of, we probably want to go 20 to 25 miles an hour. But you can feel that. You can see us when we're jerking forward. The engine is being hit. That's that slack of the train that is just coming over the crest of the hill, coming down and slamming into the cars in front of it. And that's the slack closing out and hitting us up here in the engine. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know exactly what happened here. Something happened with our dynamic braking. We got hit with a bunch of slack, and you can see on here we are currently in notch 8 for dynamic braking, and we're getting absolutely no effort. Nothing at all from the dynamic braking. So we're not too far off from having a runaway train here. We're starting to pick up speed. I'm trying to get us down this mountain using the independent and automatic. I know that's not how it's supposed to work, but that's the only option we got right now. I had to start using them because the dynamic braking just stopped working entirely. So I'm hoping we've got past the at least the steepest point of the descent. I'm just hoping I can get us down this mountain without derailing, keeping us around the speed limit, not even under. If I could just keep us around the speed limit, with both of these brakes. Not the conventional way, not the way it's supposed to be done, but hey, we're going to have to adapt, and that's the way this is going to have to be done now. Oh, so this is embarrassing, guys. Somehow, don't ask me how, I figured out what the problem was. The fuel generator got turned off somehow. I don't know how. I didn't turn it off, but now, if you take a look at this, we can get some amps going because I was using the independent the independent and automatic brake to bring us down this hill, but we're starting to slow down too much, and I couldn't get any power with the throttle to bring us back up to speed. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, sure enough, I checked down here, and our fuel generator is off. So that's kind of important if you want to be able to, you know, move the train and not coast down an entire hill, because we would not have made it. Just coming down the hill, we would not have made it out to the yard. So thankfully we figured that out. It's just going to be smooth sailing now from here on out to Viaduct Junction, getting our warrant, and then closing things out in the yard. We are 5 miles out now from Viaduct Junction. We have made it down the toughest part of the mountain. And man, this has been a journey. We're going to have to do more of some CSX runs later on with these AC 4400s. These are so fun to operate. I've been on my toes every minute driving these, trying to manage the slack, not get bumped off the rails from all the slack, and trying to manage the speed coming downhill with this heavy load. This has been an extremely fun run, but unfortunately it is going to be coming to an end here real soon, as in about 4.5 miles we're going to be stopping at Viaduct Junction. So about 3-ish miles or whatnot, we're going to have to slow down because we'll have that speed restriction going through town, and then we'll get our warrant to bring this train to its final destination in Cumberland Yard.
Subject to signal indications, proceed into Cumberland Terminal. Over.
So we have made it to Viaduct Junction. Now all we have to do is bring this train to its final destination at Emmett's Creek inside Cumberland Yard. And we have another uphill start, so you know what that means. Let's go ahead, release the automatic, and let's build up these amps here. 0.7%. This is actually, I think, the steepest one we've had yet. So let's go ahead and release some of the independent brake, and we're going to take a look outside the ground. This is what I kind of use to judge. You can see we slowly are going to start moving just a little bit. Here you go. We can see we can slowly start moving. We have to move it up into notch 5, but you have to make sure if you're moving it up as far as you are that you have enough independent brake applied, because if you don't, you saw earlier we were in notch 5 but we didn't have enough independent brake applied. That's when you get wheel slip. So you got to make sure you have enough independent brake applied for whatever notch you're in so that you aren't getting the wheel slip. It's coming up on a crossing here. 2 longs, short, and a long. And with that, we are off to our final location to finish this scenario. We have finally made it down to the yard, so it is time to put the independent. We'll put that full service on the automatic, set this to neutral, and then that is it. Susanna, or whatever your name was, it's been a pleasure working with you, even though you're not Bill and you did absolutely nothing for us. But with that being said, guys, it is time to head back to the office, and that is going to wrap up our CSX operations, or at least the 8 scenarios. Really only 7, there's 1 free play, but the 7 scenarios that they gave us. So let's see how we did. And that is going to be another gold medal for us. We got gold medals in every single CSX scenario here. And that is going to do it for our CSX operations here on Train Sim World 2. As next week, we're heading over across the pond to Germany, and we're gonna start some passenger service work over there. But I had a lot of fun driving this AC 4400, and to be honest, all the freight trains with CSX. So maybe when I have some time, we dive into some of these timetable services for CSX, and that way we could do some more services with these amazing AC 4400s. But if you guys are excited to see our German operations and more Train Sim World 2 operations in general, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.